John Rockefeller was born on July 8, 1839 in Richford, New York, USA. John Rockefeller embodied all the typical features of the Huguenots. Hard work, care, trust in relation to his own, indifference and indifference to strangers were the main features of his character. His grandfather Godfrey was a serious, intelligent, kind, and pure-hearted man. John's father, William Rockefeller, combined all the negative qualities in his personality, but he never tasted alcohol in his life. He even founded a society of non-drinkers and tried to mobilize his contemporaries against alcohol. John Rockefeller's childhood was spent in work, reading, and thinking.
He was always thinking about something.
Even when playing checkers, he never went for at least half an hour without thinking. When he was criticized for this, he would answer, "What do you think of me? I only play to win." As a young man, John Rockefeller was a practical man in the truest sense of the word. He would never do anything for his parents without a penny, and he would never spend a penny. He learned a lot from his grandfather, father, and mother. The convictions formed over the years about what is good and what is bad gradually led him to become a billionaire. At the age of 7, John kept a hen for sale and dug potatoes for neighbors for money. He kept all the money he earned in a piggy bank and kept records in a notebook. At the age of 13, the future billionaire lent a familiar farmer $50 at 7.5% per annum. Their mother taught the family's 6 children to save. John Rockefeller loved to repeat this phrase, "I grew up on this principle. Work and save." Rockefeller did not finish college. He believed that a 3-month accounting course was enough for him. In September 1855, John Rockefeller, who had been unemployed for a long time and had arrived in Cleveland in search of a suitable job, finally got his wish. He was hired as an assistant accountant by the Hewitt and Tuttle Company. He started working for the company for $1.50 a week. Rockefeller wrote in his memoirs that if I hadn't earned $1.50, I would never have become a millionaire. John Rockefeller's acquaintance with the business world began here. One day, Rockefeller, who everyone considered a dumb, dark-skinned young man, shouted among his colleagues, "I'm going to be rich." Despite the fact that he made the statement loudly twice more, no one paid attention to his words. However, he was not at all interested in what others thought. 3 years later, when he was dismissed from the position of executive director of Hewitt and Tuttle, 19-year-old John Rockefeller was appointed to this position due to his abilities. When he was told that he would be paid $600 during the appointment, Rockefeller refused this position and wrote a letter of resignation from his previous job. He considered it unfair to give him $600, while the previous executive director received a salary of $2,000. After that, he and his acquaintances started their own business. They founded the trading house Clark and Rochester, which was engaged in the sale of grain, meat, hay, and other products. Soon Rockefeller began to search for oil to produce kerosene from it. Thus, in 1870, the company, Standard Oil, was founded, which enriched its owner. Rockefeller's partner Maurice Clark said, "John believed in only 2 things in the world: faith in the church, teaching, and oil." Having become rich, John began to buy other oil companies. By 1880, Rockefeller controlled 95% of oil refining in America. His monopoly was called the most ingenious, wise, and unjust that ever existed. He did not limit himself to making huge profits from the oil industry. Rockefeller also owned huge tangerine and tobacco plantations. As well as the largest shipping companies, his budget was enriched by unimaginable sums. In 1913, Rockefeller's fortune was estimated at $1 billion. Rockefeller was the second richest man in the United States after Morgan. John Rockefeller married a religious girl he met while still a student. The wedding was organized quite simply. The young people settled in a cheap family apartment and refused servants. By this time, John was already the owner of an oil refinery. Rockefeller raised his children in the same way as he had been raised. He taught them to save and allowed them to earn money. Children were fined if they were late for lunch. Rockefeller attached great importance to food, did not drink alcohol, did not smoke, was indifferent to clothing, rarely changed his suits, did not go to the theater and clubs. His favorite food was milk and bread. Rockefeller's wife wore patchwork clothes and lived frugally, like Rockefeller. When Rockefeller offered to buy a bicycle for each of his children, she said that one bicycle was enough for 4 children, so that they would learn to share. John Rockefeller dreamed of earning $100 million and living to be 100. His first wish came true quickly. The Standard Oil Company brought in $3 million a year. In addition, Rockefeller owned 16 railroads, 6 steel companies, 9 real estate companies, as well as 9 steamship companies and 9 banks. John Rockefeller's intense work caused serious problems with his health. Many years of making money made him forget to take care of his health. Once, when he stood in front of the mirror and looked at himself, he began to feel uneasy. His hair loss, even thinning eyebrows, wrinkles on his face, and a generally sickly appearance forced him to consult a doctor. After the examination, Rockefeller asked the doctor, "I feel that I have serious health problems. Is this true?" Did the doctor confirm what he said? "Mr. Rockefeller, you are right. Your health is not so good. What should I do now? You have 2 options. You must either earn money or live like a human being." After this dialogue, serious changes are felt in Rockefeller's life. He begins to pay attention to his health and, most importantly, he begins his largest charity campaigns after this period. From the day he started earning money until the end of his life, John Rockefeller gives 10% of his income to churches. His charity does not end there. He has distributed more than $500 million to people gratuitously. Today, the charitable foundation named after John Rockefeller continues the Billionaire's traditions. In total, $100 billion of the $318 billion Rockefeller earned was spent on charity. The Rockefeller family has made a name for itself in the field of philanthropy. The billionaire, who never spared money for the development of education and healthcare, established a foundation in his name in 1913. Currently, this foundation finances national and international research in the fields of agriculture, demography, ecology, education, and culture. According to the latest statistics, the Rockefeller Foundation is one of the 10 main foundations engaged in philanthropy in America. Its total budget is $3.8 billion. Currently, the foundation supports more than 50 nonprofit organizations. On May 23, 1937, John Rockefeller died of a heart attack.